David, momentarily to you, but I want to go back to our guest right now who has clerked for both of these gentlemen, of course, for Kavanaugh and the gentleman he would be replacing, Justice Kennedy. And Justin, tell us about both of them, how they're different, how they're similar, and what kind of judge you think Brett Kavanaugh would be.
Well, I think Judge Kavanaugh is going to be just a tremendous Supreme Court nominee. He's probably the most qualified nominee in 2 or 3 generations. He has served 12 years on the second most important court in the country, authored 300 opinions, and 13 of them have been vindicated by the Supreme Court, an unparalleled record of endorsement for a lower court judge. I think he has a lot in common with Justice Kennedy. To be sure, Justice Kennedy is maybe a bit more of a pragmatist on some issues. Judge Kavanaugh, sometimes more of a textualist, but they both revere the Constitution, and they both agree on, to begin with, the 13 times that Justice Kennedy has been in a majority that's vindicated an opinion by Judge Kavanaugh.
So, over to David. We're kind of trying to straddle 2 different themes here as I talk about what kind of justice Kavanaugh would be. I also want to go to the political elements of all this, the theater that we're seeing going on backstage, so to speak. Cory Booker being the latest to add some drama to it all. And David, get your opinion on how that's going to affect this process and how that's affecting sentiment there, not just on Capitol Hill, but within the country.
First, let's keep in mind that Supreme Court hearings are where U.S. senators envision themselves as movie stars and love to have their camera time and have their lines before the cameras. Second, let's keep in mind that Democrats have a choice to make, particularly those who are in competitive elections this year. They can make voters in their states angry by not voting for Kavanaugh, or they can make the liberal progressive donor base upset with them and cut their money off so that they can't run the campaign they need to run. So for Senate Democrats, it's a very tough vote for some of them. At the end of the day, Kavanaugh is going to win confirmation by bipartisan support.
Mm-hmm. And where does that leave Cory Booker, who's telling everyone he's got confidential stuff that's not actually confidential?
Well, bad research on his part, but again, it gets back to facts don't have to get in the way when you want to make sure you are in the theater, making sure that people are getting your attention. Thinking, though, about the midterm elections and how this impacts that, let's keep in mind that there was a group of Republican voters who voted for President Trump because of this very issue, the Supreme Court and the justice system. This is a motivating issue for Republicans, this hearing and ultimately the confirmation vote for Kavanaugh. And his getting approval, his approval will help Republicans this fall.
Justin Walker, it looks like it's going to happen. What does this actually mean? Walk us through the significance of this, the fact that this president, not a well-liked president, we just saw in the New York Times, we were talking about it earlier today with the anonymous op-ed, not well-liked by everyone, I should point that out, but very well-liked by others. What does that do to sort of the future of the country, the future of the Supreme Court? What kind of influence is he having?
I think that when a president makes a nomination to the Supreme Court, it's one of the most important things that a president does. It's a legacy that lasts 20, 30, even 40 years. And this president is 2 for 2. Justice Gorsuch and hopefully soon to be Justice Kavanaugh are going to be tremendous justices. And I was born in 1982. In the Republican presidencies since then, I'm not sure that any president before President Trump has nominated as their first 2 nominees to the court 2 judges who are as thoughtful and as qualified and who are going to be as great as Gorsuch and Kavanaugh.
Well, that's a pretty big endorsement. And so assuming this all goes through, David, does it help Republicans in midterms because it looks like they're doing something?
It does. It helps with those Republicans who are motivated by the courts and those Republicans who voted for President Trump because of his impact on the Supreme Court. It is motivating for them. And let's keep it also, Cory Booker doing what he does also reminds conservatives what infuriates them about progressive and liberals and gives them another reason to go cast their ballot this November.
All right, we'll be watching, Justin. David, thank you so much.